This Council resumes the second reading debate on the Supplementary Appropriation 2024 to 2025 Bill. Does any member wish to speak? Mr. Louis Long.
主席
President, as the Secretary for Financial and Treasury Services said in the appropriation bill debate, when we close the account of any financial year, if it is found that the expenditure charged to any head is in excess of the sum appropriated for that head by an appropriation ordinance, the excess shall be included in a supplementary appropriation bill, which should be introduced into Legislative Council as soon as practicable after the close of the financial year to which the excess expenditure relates. In other words, the bill is a procedure to close the account. It is not that we are going to incur any additional expenditure. When we close the account, the Commissioner of or Director of Audit will assess the accounts and submit a report to the Legislative Council. I will review the report to be submitted by the Director of Audit, so I support the passage of the bill so that we can complete the procedures of closing the account. This is the fourth year when we assess the supplementary appropriation bill. With the fiscal challenges faced by the government, the Financial Secretary said that he will control government expenditure stringently. I noticed that the supplementary bill involved has dropped from $47.5 billion to $13.3 billion last year and $10.2 billion this year. The number is on the drop, which shows that the government has been controlling expenditure. I recognize the government's efforts in this area. Looking at the breakdown of the appropriation bill, 19 expenditure items are involved. Item 152, that is the supplementary appropriation bill relating to government headquarters. It involves $7.4 billion, accounting for 17% of the total sum. It has to do with the small and medium enterprises subsidy scheme and other relevant programs. Given the heightened geopolitical tension while Hong Kong had a tough time in its economic recovery, although the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, the banking industry have stepped up their support for local enterprises. Despite this, SMEs are still in serious plight. So I support the bill to cater to the cash flow for the SME funding scheme. As our economy is recovering, various industries and sectors are faced with cash flow problem. I represent the real estate and property sector. We are faced with the same problem. Although we have this enhanced conventional new town development approach in developing the northern metropolis, over the past few years, the government has invoked the resumption of land ordinance to resume land from private developers for construction. The government is resuming land very efficiently. But the compensation is low and the speed of payout is not ideal. This is why I've put so many oral questions in this regard. President, Even after the government has verified the title, they delay the payout of compensation to developers. The sector that I represent does not expect any form of subsidy from the government like what they do for the SMEs. All we want is to have the government be more understanding. Our sector is faced with cash flow problem. We have to return and repay the banks, and we hope that the government will pay their compensation in a more speedy manner. President, I support the passage of the Supplementary Appropriation 2024-2025 bill. Mr. Dennis Leung. President, I speak in support of the Supplementary Appropriation 2024-2025 bill. There are 19 items involved in the bill. That is on top of the $623 billion, and in the Appropriation Bill 2024, we need an additional $10.2 billion, which account for 1.6% of the total sum. I think that's reasonable. I think that this shows that the government has made a very accurate estimates as they drafted the appropriation bill. 13 items relate to the 2024-2025 civil servants' pay adjustment. Regarding these 13 items, I think that they're necessary because it has to do with a regular expenditure of the government. It could be difficult for the administration to assess the actual expenditure. That's why they have to table and include these items in the supplementary appropriation bill. However, I hope that the government will adopt a consistent estimation approach to further narrow down the discrepancy. Other items are to cater to other cash flow under other different items. First, the SME financing guarantee scheme, the BUT fund, the industrial support fund, the guarantee fund, the matching fund, and the funding injection for AFRC, subsidies for electricity charges for qualified property owners, so on and so forth. On top of that, the government are to engage consultancy to identify unauthorized building works identified by the members of the public via complaints. However, I take issue with one of the items. This is the former OGO and former Efficiency Office. On the 25th of July 2024, we have already established the Digital Policy Office. After the two offices that have merged, we are incurring an additional expenditure of $16 million, which account for 0.54%. Although the sum is not significant, I hope that the government will redeploy resources internally to lower the government expenditure. So submit.
Does any other member wish to speak? If not, I now call upon the Secretary for Financial Services and the Treasury to reply. Then the debate will come to a close. Secretary. President, I'd like to respond to the second member who spoke just now regarding the formulation of the DPO. It is actually a technical adjustment. We combine two heads of expenditure, one from 9 and to the new one that led to an increase. But actually, it was supposed to be a drop. It wasn't reflected in the adjustment. It is simply a technical change. Thank you. And I'll put the question to you that the Supplementary Appropriation 2024-25 bill be read the second time. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of the members present. I declare the motion passed. Supplementary Appropriation 2024-2025 bill. This council now becomes Committee of the Whole Council